All right, let's just get this started because I'm a little sick. So anyway, I came on stream and the first thing, a lot of you guys were like, can you watch the Mr. Beast video from SunnyV2 about Chris? People are going crazy about Chris. People, it's just so weird and obsessive. I get it. You're not comfortable with trans people, but oh my goodness, it's been a relentless, like, week-long slog of you guys having not you, everybody, but people having meltdowns. It's like, it's a trans person. It's not that big of a deal. Like, grow up. Be more mature. Like, everybody's coming up with these wild, heinous conspiracy theories. Like, oh, they're a bad parent. They're a bad this. They're a bad... Bro, just stop. It's just a person that's trans, trying to live their authentic self to be happier. Happier parents tend to make better parents. Okay, nobody chooses to have any particular struggle in their life. All right, God gives its toughest battles to its strongest warriors. And based on the backlash from Mr. Beast fans, I doubt that Chris was like wanted to get all this negative attention. I genuinely feel bad for this individual. I don't even know who they are. But anyway, of course, SunnyV2's video is called "Why Chris Will Soon Be a Nightmare for Mr. Beast." If the only answer is because of obnoxious, immature fans, I'm not even going to say transphobic, because there are people who don't like trans people who could just keep it to themselves and not constantly talk about it. But it's going to be the transphobic people who just can't stop talking. Little kids that just don't shut up. Oh my God. I don't know why we take people seriously. These little kids on the internet so seriously. If they were in a classroom, you would just walk out and go, okay. But on the internet, like, they apparently run they're all a bunch of Beyoncés. They run the world. But let's get it going.
The Chris Tyson situation could become a complete disaster for Mr. Beast's brand. However, it may also provide some unique benefits.
Who cares? Why is this even an analysis that we're doing? Here's what I see. Mr. Beast is keeping this person on because it's their friend, and they're not gonna let social atmosphere sway them in one direction or the other. I can respect that. Sounds like Mr. Beast is being a strong, good person. So
let's begin by going over the drama before explaining exactly how this will impact the Mr. Beast channel. In mid-2022, fans began to notice that Chris Tyson was changing. In the early days,
oh no, not a person changing.
He represented the quintessential southern gun and truck loving dude. Yet beginning in March 2022, Chris began to display...
He's wearing a thin blue line. Sorry, I'm making weird noises. I've got sicky poos. That's like a nail polish. It looks like they have like the thin blue line flag nail polish. That's actually funny, but also cringe at the same time.
Increasingly feminine traits, making tweets such as, "I finally got my nails done at a nail tech." Additionally, Chris would highlight that his facial appearance had changed significantly since the start of the pandemic, which accompanied another post reading, "Okay, so in 4 different customs, I had to prove I was myself because I, quote, look nothing like my passport pic, so much that I'm considering updating my passport. Do you see any resemblance?"
Yeah, that's a good idea. Just update it.
Prompting replies such as, "You went from man to boy." Chris responded by stating, "Nah, to be honest, I just really started taking my mental health seriously and eating better."
Well, that's good, because during COVID, I didn't. During COVID, I think it was a reverse.
Yet his Twitter photos kept insinuating that Chris was becoming more feminine, with his same kind of look showing...
It's not really insinuating, they just are becoming more feminine.
And eating better. Yet his Twitter photos kept insinuating...
I now have lethal weapons at all times.
That Chris was becoming more feminine.
Okay, so...
with his same kind of look showing up in his Mr. Beast appearances. For example, on the 6th of January 2023, Beast Reacts uploaded a video titled "I Strapped a GoPro to a Fish," in which Chris dressed in a way that prompted comments such as, "Chris has been adopting more and more traits that remind me of my grandmother." Okay, so some people just gonna ignore Chris's nails? Chris had to have lost a bet. The look is getting wild. The response to the video
that's silly.
Video then prompted countless viral TikToks, such as this one with 700,000 likes, stating, "How did Chris go from this to this?"
Yeah, it's because they're just living their authentic self. Like, I get the comments. Listen, I understand if you're a Mr. Beast fan and it's like weird for you. Hey, I never seen Chris like this before. Chris transitioning is bizarre to you. It's not familiar. I do understand that. But there has to be a line that that your parents should have taught you of respect, where it's like, hey, this is weird. Oh, Chris is different now. That's curious, is an acceptable comment. Like, ew is an unacceptable comment. This idea of like, what happened to Chris? Like, nothing. They're just, they were, it sounds like they were like an overly masculine southern redneck style person, because they were like, you know, maybe they had some kind of an upbringing that didn't allow them to be themselves, and now they are. It's not that deep.
While others even made the claim that Carl had turned him gay.
then you're a fucking idiot and don't know how being gay works. Nobody turns people gay. It's not how the world works. You're usually like born gay. Maybe there are some environmental factors, but they would have to be so wildly intense that being around a gay person, if that makes you gay, you were already gay. Like, it's just ignorant.
Yeah. Now, this was pretty ridiculous, as Carl isn't even that feminine, and Chris had come out as bisexual years before he and Carl had even met. The true catalyst for Chris Tyson's feminization instead seemed to have come from his marriage. In
No, it didn't. See, this is why you're fucking... Oh my god.
January 2022, Chris would post a photo with his wife to his Instagram, yet after this, the family photo stopped altogether. Fans also noticed that he'd removed his wedding ring, with the ring's absence correlating perfectly with the very first post in which he'd painted his nails.
Yeah, listen. It sounds like to me, a reasonable speculation is that this Chris, or this, right, that's Chris, they got married to a girl, and the woman married a man. Or what they thought was a man, and as this individual explores their gender, the wife is no longer comfortable with that. That's perfectly acceptable, and it's going to stress the marriage out. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate it took Chris so long to find themselves. It's unfortunate we live in a society that shames people when they come out as trans, because this literally is like an actual scientific experiment here almost. Of like, hey, here's what happens when you decide to express that you're trans, when you come out as your authentic self. People are relentless on the internet. And this, you know, you realize your reaction is the type of, like, those people who are acting like that. You're the reason why Chris, like, probably suppressed it for so long, right? Keep that in mind. But the woman doesn't have to be married to this person. It's like, you know, it's upsetting for everybody. And I understand that's a deep struggle. That's their whole thing. You know what I mean? It's going to strain the relationship, and God bless both of them. You know, hopefully like they navigate this well, but it's going to be stressful. You know, it's the unfortunate issue. And again, this probably wouldn't have happened if we didn't see such toxic people that are so like aggressively rude about someone coming out as trans. So...
Chris confirmed the split in a post from March 2023 reading, "For a little over a year now, me and Katie have been separated," with this also confirming that Chris's transformation began as soon as his marriage came to an end.
It's probably why the marriage came to an end to some extent. I don't think that you understand how life works.
Separated. With this also confirming that Chris's transformation began as soon as his marriage came to an end.
I feel like you're trying to make it seem like the marriage ending is what made this happen, when it's more likely that this has been a conversation they've been having privately for a long time. Like, I don't know if you guys know how this works. People who are married talk to each other. So they're probably having conversations with each other, and Chris was probably like, hey, I'm feeling the XYZ, and, you know, his wife or their wife was probably like, I don't know how I feel about that. They were having like their own, you know, relationship issues. And then once the marriage had ended, or I don't even know if that's an accurate timeline, but they felt more comfortable expressing themselves as their authentic self. Not that deep. We are finalizing things soon, but these things take time. We'd like to keep our personal lives private, which a lot of people don't understand because we share so much. But this is the only time I want to discuss it. That's fair. Okay.
With this also confirming that Chris's transformation began as soon as his marriage came to an end. Chris went from lighting campfires and raising a family with his beautiful wife to now trying to be a wife with his man buns and long nails. As the criticism continued to pile, Chris announced that he'd be taking a break from social media. And while there was a
I could see why, because people are obnoxious.
Possibility that Chris would make efforts to return to his former self, he'd rather do the opposite and double down on his feminine image.
Bro, this is what I'm talking... Dude, SunnyV2, it has... Like, we really have to come to the understanding. SunnyV2 is like some terminally online weirdo that just has no understanding of the way that the world works in any capacity. Like, just this sentence is so disconnected from reality. Like, we just have to stop. Like, this guy, like, holy fuck, dude. Like, listen to this.
As the criticism continued to pile, Chris announced that he'd be taking a break from social media. And while there was a possibility that Chris would make efforts to return to his former self...
Why would he do that if he's not happy? Like, why even say that?
He'd rather do the opposite and double down on his feminine image.
Double down on his feminine image. First of all, saying that it's an image. I've seen so many SunnyV2 videos, and he's so obsessed with the way that people perceive other people. Like, don't apologize. It'll blah, 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 blah. He's so obsessed with, like, the perception of a character that he doesn't care about the character. Like, such a disconnected. He's like a fucking robot. I don't understand. It's like, have you ever met people? Like, holy shit. But it seems like you're almost going with this idea that it's like it comes off, knowing from my watching like too many SunnyV2 videos, that this guy is like, what do you think this is, like a publicity stunt? Oh my god.
Showing up to the Kids' Choice Awards looking like this before making the announcement that he'd been doing HRT for approximately 2 months.
Good for them. right? I'm gonna properly. I don't know their exact pronouns. I think that they're like gender fluid, but whatever. Good for them. Good for them. Good for you, Chris. I'm assuming that's the name that they're still using.
Which, according to a quick Google search, is the medical process for changing genders. Chris would
Yeah, okay.
expand on this by stating, informed consent HRT saved my and many others' lives.
Good.
The hurdles GNC people have to jump through to get life-saving gender-affirming healthcare in a first world country is wild to me.
I agree with that.
Just let people make informed decisions about their own bodies.
Just keep in mind, I understand the conversation about kids is very complicated, and I understand that. But once you're like an adult and you get like a diagnosis, there should be gender affirming care available to you. We should have like the mental health stability, all the mental health things provided. Frankly, it shouldn't just be gender affirming care. It should be for everybody's health care. We pay wild amounts of money for health care. Even things like insulin costs like 100 times more than it's supposed to. It's crazy. Oh, it's Twitter. Well, I'm gonna say there, but their Twitter says any pronouns. Okay, poggers.
Which received a positive response from both Carl and Mr. Beast.
Yeah, good for Mr. Beast. Every day, though, I gotta say, I respect Mr. Beast a little more. You know, I think I think that a lot of you can share this sentiment. That I'm not a big fan of millionaires and billionaires, especially people who like do, you know, especially with all the homeless issues, but especially people who do like, acts of charity as content. But I think that Mr. Beast is possibly the only person who's done acts of charity as content in a way that seems and comes off very genuine. You know, like there's some people that are like, oh, I'm going to go help a homeless man. And then they just take advantage of the guy. Mr. Beast seems to actually care. He seems to be a young man trying, like, doing the right thing. He seems to have a solid moral compass, you know, solid moral cum and piss. Got you. I did one more heart than Carl because I'm a better friend. You know, and I understand that Mr. Beast isn't going to throw his hat into the ring and be super political, like, I support trans, blah, blah, blah. I don't think that he has to. But for him to just say, I support my friend, regardless, I think that's a positive message. You don't have to be trans affirming to be friend affirming. Right? Like, you don't need to be like, I respect blah, 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 blah. You should. But like, if you have a friend, you know that friend deeply, and you know them, they're genuine, they go through a struggle, and you're like, you know what? I respect my friend. I want to help my friend. You know, that's a really solid fundamental message, and it starts there. It starts with acknowledging the struggles of your friends and supporting them, right? That's how we generate empathy.
Who wrote, got you, I did one more heart than Carl because I'm a better friend. While his co-workers expressed positivity, others weren't so welcoming. There goes a father figure the
You mean losers?
Kid won't ever be able to look up to.
Oh no.
Hard times create strong men create good times create weak men, and weak men create hard times.
I covered this like topic already in itself, and I'll put it in the description. But this is so annoying for a couple reasons. One, this individual, Chris, just wants to live their authentic self. Okay? And a happy parent is better than an unhappy parent, because happy people make better parents. All right? This isn't like this majestic choice that they were like, you know what? I think I'm going to try being trans today. And it's not something, it's not like a frivolous little silly goosery thing. It's just like a real identity thing that they've been probably struggling with for a very long time. Additionally, weak men criticize trans people. Okay? I talk about this all the time, but I'm really tired like of the focus of like what a strong man is. It centralizes around like what this. We have men who we have like an epidemic of weak men, and those are called absentee fathers. And we criticize trans people for some reason for not being real men in some capacity, but we don't criticize we don't criticize these absentee fathers enough. That's why we have a weak generation, because fathers aren't there for their kids. Not even that they're not in the home; they're not there for their kids. Oh, well, you know, the custody is in favor of women. Yeah, because one, women want to be there more, but two, it doesn't matter. You don't need equal custody to be there as a father. If you get your kid once a week, then show up. Most of the time, these men just don't. So, like, let's stop crying about, oh, hard times, blah, blah, blah. Jerk yourself off. Fucking focus on single fatherhood. Or, single motherhood. Even single fatherhood. Like, we have an issue with just bad parents in general, okay? If you're a mother not there for your kid, you're fucking horrible, too. And, yeah, it's difficult to come out as trans. Like, this is something that takes strength to come out. Especially, look at the backlash. It's insane how hard the backlash is against this person. This is like, that's hard to come out with. Like, could you say the same for yourself? Could you say the same, like, oh yeah, like, did you, if this was your authentic self, was something that would be scrutinized and demonized so precisely and aggressively on the internet, would you come out? Probably not, pussy. Like, so you're gonna, oh, well, this is a trans person. Yeah, this is a trans person that's on the fucking firing line socially because you guys can't, you're obsessed. You're obsessed with it. So shut the fuck up. Oh my god.
Weak man times. Chris responded to this comment by stating, "This is just more dog whistling that somehow trans and GNC folks aren't safe around kids. Tucker begs for me to come back when I leave for like 2 days to film. He is so loved and happy. Kids aren't born with hate, it's taught by people like you, and my child will only know love."
Well, good for them for being around their kid. That's all I care about.
"I know I'm going to be a great parent, and so is every other person who puts the love of their child before everything. I made this decision because I wanted to show up as my best and happiest self for him. In a way, this was for Tucker."
Well, these are very mature responses from Chris, so...
Chris's response received some positivity such as, "I'm convinced you're an amazing father. Tucker is lucky to have you and also lucky to have all of those who surround and support you in his life, as well as I adore that, I'm glad you made that decision."
Also, I think that kids need a mixture of a masculine presence and a feminine presence. And you could still, first of all, you can still get that out of a trans parent. Second of all, there are other people in your life that should be able to subsidize that masculinity or femininity. Okay, let's say you have two very feminine parents. Oh, maybe a gym teacher, maybe an uncle, maybe a grandfather, maybe this, that, and the other thing. Okay, part of the thing that fucks kids up isn't just the lack of a masculine or feminine figure. The biggest part that creates deep-seated anger, especially in young men, it's coming from me, is the parent that was supposed to love you and be there for you unconditionally simply doesn't want to be involved in your life. The kid has that. The kid's going to grow up better than most of you. I don't know what to tell you. So...
It's so much easier to be a parental figure when you're not struggling with dysphoria, yet he'd also receive an equal amount of backlash.
No, a disproportionately higher amount of backlash.
Ripped apart your family and took a father figure away from your son just so you could paint your nails and act zesty.
You're a loser, Abir Hassan. You're a fucking loser.
You're pathetic. He will get
that was the name of that person.
Torn apart at school, won't want to have friends around his house, a life full of difference and being alone.
Okay, you're a loser too, Craig C. Okay, yeah, they might get bullied at school. Whose fault is that? The fathers or these losers that like promote the bullying? You're promoting the bullying by acting like this. I'm gonna make sure I teach my very large child because I'm gonna have big kids. I'm 6'4". I'm a big motherfucker. All right, and my wife, I like dating. I dated a Viking woman. No, I just she's like 6'7". No, 5'7". That'd be crazy. I'm gonna teach them to bully kids that bully kids. That's what I'm gonna do. Okay, that's all. That's a joke, YouTube. Don't take it down. No, but seriously, like, what happened? Like, this is the weakness we're talking about. So basically, you shouldn't come out because your kid might get bullied by weak little boys that have shit parents. If my kid it was like bullying some kid because their parent was trans, we're going back to the 1920s, not for the trans person, but for my kid. Okay, I'm gonna grab the belt, motherfucker. I don't care. I don't care what it is. I'm gonna grab the soap. You know what I mean? We'll have a good, I don't care. Oh, that's rude. Throw. Like, don't tolerate that kind of shit. Don't tolerate like this kind of disrespectful bully behavior. If you teach your kid, if they don't like somebody, to just not interact. Don't interact. This is what we're talking about. This week. Oh, your kid's gonna get torn apart. So teach your kid to be better. Teach kids to be better. Oh, it's hard. Well, maybe if they had both their parents in the household, it wouldn't be so hard. But there's your fundamental problem. That's the weakness that's going on. It's fucking pathetic.
Must have missed the point in that tweet. How's this for him when you're depriving him of a father figure? Although Chris wasn't altered by these comments, as he'd once again reiterate his certainty in a new post reading, "It's never too late to start being yourself."
No, I wouldn't what?
Which received praise from Mr. Beast as well as Nolan and Carl.
You're glowing. Comment U2W based.
However, these comments also added extra fuel to the fire. In a few years, look back at this thread and remember they were never your friends. Only yes men cowards. Hope you come out of this safe.
What a loser. Who's this M Alpha? Oh my god. Jesus Christ, a whole bunch of losers.
Mr. Beast responded to this with a simple opinion irrelevant ratio where
Based. Didn't quite ratio. Well, he ratioed the likes on it. Based.
To which the original commenter would state, "I have 30 followers, so go ahead and ratio me. I'll still rest easy knowing that I'm not a coward who idly sits by watching my friend ruin his own life."
Yeah, but you're a fucking idiot that doesn't understand anything.
In some ways, it was nice to see the boys standing up for Chris on Twitter. However, the situation has already begun life. In some ways, it was nice to see the boys standing up for Chris on Twitter. However, the situation has already begun to change the dynamic within the videos.
Who cares? This is where being a strong person comes into play. Who cares? These people are going to cry about it right now, and they're going to get over it because they're a bunch of dumb fucking little piss babies. Oh, a trans person. I don't want to have to look at that. And then they're going to get over it because they have nothing better to do than watch fucking 10-minute Mr. Beast videos. Okay?
For example, in a recent livestream titled Opening 1,000 Mystery Art Boxes, Chris would once again dress in quite a feminine way. And while
it's because Chris is like trans in some capacity. No kidding.
Everybody participated as usual, the energy and vibe didn't feel nearly as smooth as it normally does.
That's okay. First of all, it might be because they unboxed 1,000 things, which is going to burn you out. I don't know if you guys know this, but opening 1,000 things between, like, let's say it's even 10 people, which is it's probably less. That is 100 things you have to open per person. So there's a really high chance that the frustration or whatever that comes out of it is because these people are just burnt out and tired from opening 100 mystery boxes. Or there could be a factor where some of them are uncomfortable because Chris is trans now and they need a little time to adjust. Let's have the right conversation. It is okay if you have a trans friend or somebody in your life that, like, you saw them before transition and now it makes you a little uncomfortable, as long as you're trying. Oh my God, hot take. That's okay. Just like trans people deserve to be affirmed, authentic trans people deserve to be affirmed and made comfortable spaces for them, we should also try to be understanding as a society for people to be like, hey, I need a little adjustment period. You know what I mean? Like, I would mess up pronouns constantly. I'd probably mess up if there was a change in the name constantly. You know, if you knew somebody for 20 years and they transition, you know, and they changed their name, it might take you a little while to get the right name down. That's okay. It doesn't mean that the world's going to end. Everybody needs to transition, okay? They all need a transitionary period for their trans friend.
Felt as though there was an unaddressed elephant in the room, and therefore everybody was in their head, as opposed to being in the present moment enjoying each other's company.
Or again, maybe they're opening 1,000 mystery boxes and it's going to take them a long time.
Maybe everybody was simply too busy opening packages, but Chris
probably
did make these bizarre jokes about Jimmy being female, making him incredibly uncomfortable.
Oh my God, Jimmy, look, they drew you. Jimmy, they drew you so well. It looks just like you.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure he's just burnt out.
Oh my God, it's Jimmy.
How did fan art? This is what we were looking for. Be brave, be honest, be kind. Mr. Beast. That is my tagline.
Becoming even
okay, it doesn't really seem that awkward. Have you guys ever worked a job before, and have you ever been burnt out while working? This is what it seems like.
weirder when each member started to pay each other compliments.
Hey, nice shirt. Thanks, dude. Nice shirt.
Hey, nice shirt.
Thanks, dude. Nice shirt.
Thanks. Nice shirt.
Nice shoes.
For the most part,
It was just the friends busting each other's balls. Which Chris might actually need if they're trans. To have their balls busted. What? Why did he decide to be trans? That's not how it works. It's not being trans all of a sudden. It's probably a built-up feeling for a long period of time until they finally felt comfortable enough to express themselves. And then they did. They didn't just magically one day wake up and go, oh. So it's a little bit more than just that.
The live stream was devoid of awkward moments. However, it would act as fodder for another 100 million views worth of drama and criticism.
Yeah, from moron fucking losers.
Chris likely believes that people will slowly adapt.
I think the worst part about Sunny is like he plays this game where he's just like some kind of a midline expression of like, I'm just reporting on what's going on, but he throws little jabs in there in his wordage about like that take a side, but like much more subtly, so that dumb little fucking boys and girls don't like realize what he's saying. But it's like just pathetic. You know what I mean? If you're going to have an opinion, express it. Don't express it in this like plausible deniability, like, well, like where you can take a walk off it. Just be a fucking adult and just be like, yeah, I think that, whatever. Just like, that's my thing. I don't like bigoted people, but I prefer a bigoted person that's just upfront about their bigotry. You know what I mean? I know what I'm getting. I could be like, no, thank you, sir. You know what I mean? So,
to his new appearance over time, but is this really going to happen? Well, maybe. It's difficult to say as to his new another 100 million views worth of drama and criticism. Chris likely believes that people will slowly adapt to his new appearance over time, but is this really going to happen? Well, maybe. It's difficult to say as the situation is
who cares if they do? Then they're losers.
Fairly unique, especially when considering Chris's reputation and influence. However, if Chris continues to transition, would it be unreasonable to say that he could jeopardize some of the personality traits which made him a successful member in the first place?
Who cares? Stop being a piss baby and crying about dumb shit. You don't need to look at everything through the lens of business. We're people. We're human beings. You don't have to do everything. Like, that's one of the things, I think the good things about the way, every single time I see somebody talk about Mr. Beast, it seems like one of the good things about him is that he's just a person. He's very business oriented, but like he leaves room for humanity to exist as well, and his friends. And like, God bless him for that. We don't need to sit here and hyper speculate on specific business. Like, it's just stupid. It's just dumb. My only criticism is that his son isn't going to have a masculine role model to look up to. What do you think, Papa? Well, I've talked about it a few times already. You get masculine, you can get masculine role models other places, uncles, well, even women, honestly. My mother was very masculine, but you can get it from other people as well. You can get it from like uncles, cousins, teachers, coaches, etc., etc. But this kid has 2 loving parents. That's very important.
Perhaps the opposite will happen, and he'll instead pick up new personality traits that better resonate with the current Mr. Beast audience. This was put forward in many comments supportive of Chris, who implied that there'll be millions of queer kids who look up to him, although this doesn't necessarily mean that it'll add any value to the video.
Like, what are you talking about? This is just like a dumb comment.
Millions of queer kids who look up to him, although this doesn't necessarily mean that it'll add any value to the video.
What does that even mean? Let's say it's true, because I wouldn't doubt it, because Chris is getting dumpstered right now by losers on the internet. So queer kids might go like, oh, wow, I respect Mr. Beast, and I also respect Chris. They make me feel better. It makes me feel included. Oh, there might not be any value. That's not what he means, that there might not be any monetary value. Who cares? Not everything has to be monetary value. You seem like a very miserable person. Every time you talk, it's all about money and just like in this way of just keeping up an internet persona. It's just embarrassing. Like, what is your personal life like? It has to be miserable. Like, you ever, like, just, Jesus Christ.
Mr. Beast has likely cultivated a massive LGBT audience, all of whom are already watching anyway, and if we've learned anything from Hollywood in recent years, it's that adding over-the-top LGBT characters for the sake of relatability rarely works as intended, and is
Bro, it's so hard not to, like, use the R sermon. Bro, what are you saying right now? Do you have a mental condition? Are you a fucking moron? This is, oh my God, I'm gonna play it over. I'm not gonna interrupt it.
It's that adding over-the-top LGBT characters for the sake of relatability rarely works as intended, and is often nothing more than a distraction from the premise of the movie or video.
Are you? Oh, dude, I'm gonna take a meat thermometer, and I'm gonna. Bro, what are you saying right now? Do you have are you okay? Chris is are you just, I don't even know how to talk to you. You're like the guy that goes to family parties and like talks about your work, even though nobody gives a fuck about your weird shit that you do on the internet. Holy fuck. Oh my God. Bro, my brain, I think that my brain is evaporating like fucking out of my ears. The steam, it's just fucking melting. My neurons are firing so hot. What are you saying right now? Chris is a person. They're not a fucking character. What is this, Among Us? Funny joke. Oh my God. Ugh. Bro, yeah, what a weenie. What a weenie head. Dude, what are you saying? Well, anything about Hollywood, we don't enjoy the characters? Joe, shut the fuck up. First of all, the inclusiveness of characters isn't even the issue. The issue is that they'll do inclusivity in stories, and then the story just sucks because they put no effort into it. But that's why, like, The Last of Us was fine. It was a great show. There's tons of gay people, and the 3 main characters only dated black women. I didn't care. I was like, oh, kind of weird. But it actually makes sense for 2 brothers to like black women, because they grew up together. And she happened to as well. I wasn't, and then there was a whole gay episode. I wasn't upset about it. It was done well. Okay, but Chris isn't a character, even outside this conversation. What are you saying? It's like you'll say any dumb, fucking morbidly unintelligent thing that you can say to just be like some form of transphobic. Oh, you like literally. How do you not feel embarrassed that you just compared a person, a human fucking being, to a Disney character, to a fucking movie character? This is not, Chris is not a fucking character. You're pushing this idea that, like, what do you think that Mr. Beast gave fucking Chris HRT? Be like, we're gonna try this new angle where you're gonna be fucking trans for a year, bro. Oh my God, dude, you have to, like, this is an embarrassingly stupid thing that you're saying, bro. I feel bad for you. Like, you need to go out, you need to take a break and go outside and talk to, like, real life people. Because for you to say that is just fucking wild to me. Jesus Christ, you're like an idiot. Oh my God, I'm sorry for being so mean, but Jesus Christ.
On top of this, it can be uncomfortable and unrelatable for the silent majority.
Who cares?
Although, as we have seen, a situation like Chris's does have the potential to create.
As long as Mr. Beast maintains quality content, nobody will truly care.
An otherworldly amount of discussion, which could be seen as a benefit
Who
for the
cares?
brand.
Drama is good for growth, 100%. That would be an easy way to up my
So you're
if
a
I got
Keemstar
it.
fan?
The problem is, this type of situation is probably the last thing that Mr. Beast wants to attract, as he's forced to agree with Chris's position, as he has no way of manipulating the situation without being painted as the bad guy.
What?
It's a lose-lose situation for Mr. Beast.
I don't even know the full context of that podcast, but yes, drama can be good for growth. It doesn't mean that James or Jimmy or Mr. Beast is like desperate for drama.
I think Jimmy is in an inescapable situation. If he kicks out Chris, cancelled. If he don't, his channel will die for real.
What are we in fucking Auschwitz? What's the fucking energy we're taking? Oh, Jimmy's in an inescapable situation. Blah, 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 blah. Bro, Jimmy's friend came out as fucking trans, and then like they had one potentially awkward scenario, which happened to be 1,000 fucking mystery gift unboxing with like 4 people opening them. Okay, I think that maybe they're just burnt out from working. Have you guys worked? Like, this is the problem. If you 16-year-old, like fucking 14-year-old little boys, like, you guys haven't worked a real job before, so you don't really know what it's like to be burnt out from like working. Okay, but just imagine you played too much Fortnite one day and you started to play worse. That's what it's like, and then you're like, oh man, you're not playing well because all you do is play. You know what I mean? Like, there's your relatable experience. Jesus fucking balls. Jesus Christ.
An inescapable situation is a pretty good way of describing the drama.
No, it's a terrible way that only a baby, fucking piss baby, would talk about it. Like,
Which is also
okay.
why it deserves the harsh label of being a nightmare. Jimmy
it
has
doesn't.
no option but to publicly express acceptance of Chris's transition, as silence or even worse, disapproval would
What the fuck are you saying?
come with obvious severe repercussions.
What?
However,
why would he want to be disapproving of his friend coming out as trans? Why? Why are you assigning? Like, it's almost like you're trying to suggest that like it's like you want Mr. Beast to not be affirming of their friend because like you hate trans people so much. You're just like he basically, guys. I know we all hate trans people, right? But Mr. Beast has to be trans affirming or he'll be canceled by the fucking Matrix. But I still love Mr. Beast even though he's not being wildly and openly transphobic against a really good fucking friend of his that's been friend for a very long time. You know, I have to rationalize this because I can't fucking cope with the idea that maybe like fucking Mr. Beast is just like, likes his friends and wants them to be happy. Like,
in accepting Chris's transition, Jimmy implies that this will be the new normal within the content,
Okay,
thus
good.
annoying a different group of people, many of
who cares?
whom will never express their true feelings.
Yeah, Mr. Beast is going to end up dropping the views because of Chris. Probably not.
And may rather simply click on fewer Mr. Beast videos. If this is the case, Jimmy has no option but to accept this fate, as removing Chris from the videos in any kind of way could create an even more severe media firestorm.
Shut the fuck up.
The only clean solution, should things go south, might be for Chris to resign himself, and even then rumors and bad press will be unavoidable. Whether
God, you're so...
it be arrogance or ignorance, Chris seems oblivious to how
His friend really put him in a messy situation. This is what we're talking about. This is the comments. It's like, you're just being a baby, a fucking transphobic baby.
this whole thing might impact Jimmy, forgetting that he achieved his current level of success by avoiding this exact type of drama.
Oh, really? When he used to make attack helicopter jokes? Yeah, I'm sure he avoided it. Bro, this is stupid, silly goosery. Oh my god. I think we've had it. Like, SunnyV2 is just a fucking goblin. Dude, like, you need to grow up a little bit. Like, you need to get your shit together. You're like the weirdest person in the entire world. You're so, like, you are like the literal, if somebody asked me, like, hey, Papa, what is it, like, what if I had to write a book, if I had to write, like, like, if we started educating people on TOBS, right? This is a new medical condition. Once they make this, terminally online behavior syndrome, like, would there be a whole fucking chapter on SunnyV2? I swear to Christ. I mean, Jesus Christ! Just the way you look at things. It's not even the transphobia. It's just like you think that you think that this is like a character movement. The fact that you're analyzing somebody's coming out as trans as like a fucking business decision is wild to me. Okay, cool video.